Hi everybody, welcome back to the Upper Room Bible Study. I'm going to be doing some short videos to keep us focused on God and Jesus and the Word. This coronavirus thing is, respectfully, it needs the focus and attention it deserves, but I don't want us to get away from God and Jesus and watching. And so a friend of mine on Facebook said I should probably do some videos, and I took his word serious, and I started praying about it and asking God what I should do, and reading and studying, and this is what he's given me, stirred my heart to share. So sometimes things don't make sense at the moment, but it doesn't matter because what he decides is better than what I think. So I'm going to try to focus us back on today. The coronavirus is like the antichrist when he comes, and I want to tell you why real quick. Um, the coronavirus has got us focused on the coronavirus, and the entire world has come together to fight this thing. Every nation in the world, as far as I know, shows the coronavirus and it's spreading. And so they've come to this conclusion of how to fight it. Isolate yourself, wash your hands, don't talk, close to others, stay away from other people, and we're doing it. And we need to do that. But when the Antichrist comes, this is how it's going to be. He is not going to be a big red-headed thing with horns, and we're all going to be like, oh my goodness, it's the Antichrist. He's going to make perfect sense. He's going to make so much sense that your heart says, yeah, yeah, that's what we need to do, what he says we should do. And so in this moment we're living in with this coronavirus, and me saying to you, well, this is kind of like showing you what the Antichrist will be like, in the sense that even we're all doing what they're telling us to do, even though it is something we should be doing. Now, the coronavirus is killing people, and it makes people very sick, so we should do what we can to prevent it. But in Hebrews 10:24, it says, and let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, for forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some. Forsaking is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. So the more you see the day approaching, the more we should be gathering together. Now, it's only been a couple of Sundays from church and a couple of Tuesdays from Bible study that we haven't met, but it is a fact that we aren't meeting. So I want to show you, there's a couple of stories in the Bible I picked out real quick, where at the time, nobody was thinking about what it really was meaning. They were just living in that time. So the first one I want to do is the water to wine. When Jesus turned the water to wine, if I can find it in John, I think it's John 3. Nope. Oh, John 2. I'm close enough. Just a real quick, I want to read it. On the third day, there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Now, both Jesus and his disciples were invited to the wedding. And when they ran out of wine, the mother of Jesus said to him, they have no wine. Jesus said to her, woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. His mother said to the servants, whatever he says to you, do it. Now there was a set of 6 water pots of stone according to the manner of purification of the Jews, containing 20 or 30 gallons apiece. Jesus said to them, fill the water pots with water, and they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, draw some out now and take it to the master of the feast. And they took it. When the master of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, he did not know where it came from. But the servants who had drawn the water knew. The master of the feast called the bridegroom, and he said to him, every man at the beginning sets out the good wine, and when the guests have well drunk, then the inferior. You have kept the good wine until now. This beginning of signs Jesus did in Cana of Galilee. Blah, 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 blah. So at this moment of time, there's a wedding going on. They ran out of wine. What are we going to do? Jesus' mother says to the servants, do whatever Jesus tells you to do. So they ran out of wine. This says there are water pots, 20 or 30 gallons apiece, 6 of them exclusively. And he says, fill them up with water, and they filled them to the brim. Now, we didn't run out of purification water. Those are there to purify everything. There was a ritual and a tradition. They would wash everything before they ate. The couches, the silverware, the plates, everything was washed ceremonially. Now, they said they ran out of wine. They didn't run out of purification water. So immediately, it doesn't even make any sense. But they do, and they fill them up to the brim. And there's so much more detail in here for a different sermon, but for this, I want to just breeze through this real quick. They're in a wedding. They're not thinking about what this means down the road. They're at a wedding right now. They ran out of wine, and they need some wine. And he says, fill it to the brim, and they do. Then he says, now take some to the master of the feast. So they take some. And they don't take it waiting for the water to turn to wine. It says they dipped the water. And as they took it, I've said this a few times too in other videos, as they took it, it became wine. So in any event, at that moment, they're only at a wedding. But what does this mean? The water from traditionally, ceremonially cleansing was replaced by the blood of Jesus. Now, how in the world does wine, 6 water pots turned to wine, become the blood of Jesus? Because Jesus said, when they were in the upper room at the Passover dinner, took the cup, and he says, this is my blood, which was shed for you. That was a sign. And it says down here, this is what caused me to reread this and relook at it. This beginning of signs. It isn't just a wedding happening. It's a sign for things to come. So sure enough, his blood is going to replace the works and the traditions of man. And it's only through his blood that we're going to be able to get anywhere close to the Father. That's one story. Another story. The garden. Okay, so here's Jesus is in the Garden of Eden. Or not in the Garden of Eden, the Garden of Gethsemane. He's just got done with the Passover feast, and the guys and him go down to the garden, and he says to them, watch and pray with me. He separates the groups. The non-essentials, I'm just kidding. The essentials, Peter, James, and John, he separates those 3 from the rest of the group, and then he goes to his own spot. So there's 3 groups of prayer meetings going on. He says, watch and pray so you do not fall into temptation. He goes off. He bleeds his heart out to his Father, crying drops of look like blood or like blood. Lord, I don't want to do this if there's another way, but not my will but yours. So he comes back, checks on the guys. They're sleeping. Wakes them up. What are you doing? You can't even wait 1 hour? Watch with me for 1 hour? Goes back. Lord, he says the same thing. Comes back. They're sleeping. Leaves them. Comes back. Prays again. The same thing. Lord, not my will, but your be done. Goes back, checks on them a 3rd time. They're all still sleeping. Well, now he's ready. He's watched and prayed. What does that look like? A relationship with his Father. The angels came after the fact and ministered to him and strengthened him. He has to go through what he has to go through. His flesh is weak, but his spirit is strong. And he desires to do it, but his flesh just knows what's coming. But now he's been strengthened and he's ready. So he comes back, he tells the boys that are sleeping, wake up, here comes the thief in the night, Judas. Judas comes down. He's going to give him the kiss. You've heard of that. Everybody's got pitchforks and torches, and they came for Jesus. And what do? They scatter. And the only one that's ready to be taken is Jesus. And the thief in the night comes, and Jesus is taken. The only one watching and praying like he told the guys to do. Now in the garden, that's all that's going on. They get done with dinner. Guys are ready for a little sleepy time. Jesus says, please watch and pray, and they sleep. He just got done telling them chapters before. The one, and I'll do videos on those. The one who doesn't watch the thief will break into their house. But the one that watches will know when the thief is coming, and his house will not be broken into. There they are, asleep. He says if the thief comes in the second watch or the third watch, how many times does Jesus check on him? Second and third time. Here comes the thief in the night. He told them, you got to watch. If the thief comes, and here he is. He comes upon them as they're sleeping. As they wake up, there's Judas. Now they're all discombobulated and they scatter, just like he told them previously. So right now, the coronavirus is here. It's got the whole world in a panic, fear. I did a video on YouTube. If you want to blow a half hour, go watch on YouTube. Well, it's on my page. Go to my page. It's a YouTube video. It's a half hour long, so get some snacks. The coronavirus and the Christian, and concerning fear and how we're supposed to handle that. But this video is the coronavirus, and this is a sign of things to come. We're living in that now. So we got to stop thinking about that and move on and think this is exactly what it's going to be like. I'll do another one with concerning Noah. Okay, welcome to Bible study. Hope you like it.